Have you been doing the inner work, telling yourself the new story, assuming the wish fulfilled? And you're starting to quietly wonder, is any of this actually working? In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you 5 signs your self-concept has already shifted. 5 signals that the change has taken hold underneath the surface, even if your 3D reality hasn't fully caught up yet. And the last one is the one almost nobody recognizes, even though it's the strongest proof of all. Here's the thing you have to understand first, and it's the reason most people miss every single one of these signs. When your self-concept changes, the outside world is always the last thing to update, always. The shift happens on the inside first, and there's a gap before reality reflects it back. Think of it like turning a massive ship. You turn the wheel, and for a while, nothing visibly changes. The ship looks like it's still going the same direction. But the turn has already begun, the momentum just hasn't shown yet. And that gap, that's where almost everyone gives up. They're standing on the deck, staring at the horizon for proof, when the real proof, the wheel already turning, was in their own hands the whole time. So the 5 signs I'm about to give you are not things that show up out there in your circumstances. They're things that show up in you. They are the early signals, the ones that always come before the manifestation does. Learn to read these and you'll never panic in the gap again. Let's go through them. Sign number 1, the old story stops feeling true. This is usually the very first one to show up. And it's so subtle that most people walk right past it. For years, you might have had a version of you that said, I'm just not the kind of person this happens for. Or, good things come to other people, not me. That thought used to feel like a simple fact, like gravity. And then one day, you reach for that old thought, the way you always have, almost out of habit, and it just doesn't land anymore. It feels stale, hollow, like an old coat that used to fit and suddenly hangs off you. Here's what that looks like in real life. You're about to complain about your situation to a friend the way you've done 100 times before, and halfway through the sentence, it feels strange in your mouth, like you're describing someone who isn't quite you anymore. Notice that moment, because you're not fighting the limiting belief, you're not affirming against it or pushing it away. It's simply stopped being convincing, and that matters enormously, because a belief only loses its grip when something has replaced it. The old self-concept doesn't fade because you defeated it. It fades because a new one quietly moved in and took its seat. Sign number 2, you stop checking. You know exactly the behavior I mean. Refreshing the phone, looking for signs in everything, asking the universe for a status update 12 times a day, rereading old messages, checking if they viewed your story. All of that checking comes from one place, and one place only: doubt. It is the behavior of a person who does not yet believe the thing is done, and is scanning reality for reassurance that it might still happen. So here is the sign. One day you notice the checking has just fallen away. You catch yourself realizing it's been hours, then a whole day, since you anxiously scanned for evidence. And your first instinct might be to worry. Wait, does that mean I've stopped caring? No, it means the opposite. Think about how you treat the things you already know are true. You don't wake up every morning and anxiously check whether the sun came up. You don't refresh your phone to confirm your best friend still exists. You don't check on what you already know is yours. So when the compulsive checking dissolves, it's because some deeper part of you has already accepted it as done. The need for proof leaves the moment the assumption is set. Sign number 3, things that used to trigger you barely register. Maybe it's seeing them post a photo. Maybe it's a friend casually mentioning the exact thing you've been wanting. A new relationship, a promotion, the money. A month ago, something like that would have hijacked your entire day. You'd have felt that drop in your stomach, the comparison, the spiral, and you'd have carried it around for hours. But now, something's different. You notice the thing and you wait for the wave to hit, and it just doesn't. A small flicker maybe, and then it's gone, and you've moved on. You might be wondering, isn't that just me detaching or going emotionally numb? That's a fair question. So let me draw the line clearly, because they feel completely different. Numbness is heavy, it's flat, grey, a shutting down. This is light, this is freedom. The trigger lost its power, not because you went cold, but because your sense of who you are no longer depends on that external thing. When your self-concept was fragile, every reminder of lack could knock it over. When your self-concept has genuinely shifted, those same reminders bounce right off, because they no longer contradict who you believe you are. The thing that used to control your mood has simply lost its authority over you. Sign number 4, you start feeling it before you have it. This is a big one, so don't rush past it. You catch yourself feeling chosen before anyone has chosen you, feeling abundant before the money has arrived, feeling calm and settled about an area of your life that used to be a constant low-level ache. And the strange part is, there's no 3D reason for the feeling. Nothing changed on the outside to justify it. The feeling just showed up on its own and decided to stay. Let me give you an example of what this feels like. You're going about an ordinary day, washing the dishes, driving to work, and you notice this quiet baseline hum of everything's okay, it's handled. There's no anxious effort behind it, no forcing, no, I have to keep believing. It's just there. That right there is what Neville called living in the wish fulfilled. It is the feeling of the thing already being yours, untethered from any evidence. And here is why this is maybe the most powerful sign of all. The feeling always comes before the fact. Every single thing in your life arrived after the feeling state that matched it. So if the feeling is already here, living in you rent-free, then the fact it belongs to is already on its way to you. It has no choice but to follow. And sign number 5, the one almost nobody recognizes. Even though it's the strongest proof of all, you stop wanting it so badly. Now, stay with me here, because this is the one that gets misread constantly. And misreading it is how people accidentally talk themselves out of a manifestation that had already landed. What happens is this: that desperate, aching, gripping want, the one that used to sit in your chest all day, it starts to dissolve. It goes quiet. And the moment people feel that, most of them panic. They think, oh no, I've lost my desire. I've stopped believing. The spark is gone. It must be slipping away from me. It is the exact opposite. And to see why, you have to understand what that desperate wanting actually was. It was never desire, it was lack. Desperation is the feeling of not having something. It's the constant, painful awareness of a gap between you and the thing. So as long as you felt desperate for it, you were broadcasting on the deepest level, I do not have this. Now watch what happens when the self-concept shifts. The desperation goes quiet, and what's left in its place is not emptiness, it's a calm, almost boring certainty. A quiet, of course this is mine. You haven't lost the desire, you've outgrown the lack. The wanting dissolved because, on the level of who you now believe you are, it is already done. And you simply do not desperately want what you already are. So those are your 5 signs. Let's bring them together. The old story stops feeling true. You stop compulsively checking. The old triggers lose their power over you. You start feeling it before you have it. And the desperate wanting dissolves into quiet certainty. Now here's what you do with this. If you recognized even 2 or 3 of these in yourself as I was talking, I need you to really understand what that means. It means the work already worked. The shift has already happened on the inside. The wheel has already turned. And the only thing left in the entire process is for your 3D, your outer reality, to catch up, which it now has no choice but to do. So the single most important thing is this: do not undo it. The most common way people sabotage a manifestation that has already taken hold is by going right back to staring at reality, demanding proof, and deciding it isn't working because the outside hasn't changed yet. Don't do that. That's turning the wheel back the other way. Instead, when you notice these signs, just quietly acknowledge them. Good, it's working. And then carry on living as the version of you these signs belong to. Stay in that self-concept. Stay out of the gap. And let the outer world do what it must now do, which is catch up to who you've already become. If this gave you the reassurance you needed today, subscribe. I break down a different Neville Goddard teaching, just like this, every week.